Is about functioning of a political regime. Political regime. So let us discuss these processes in a greater detail to further analyze the concept of political details. Political regime. First is the organization of command. As we know, politics and the study of political regimes is concerned with the exercise of power, irrespective of why and how the power is exercised. We use the term state to denote the existence of political power within a given territory. So, example, ang atong gigamit diri term is state, which is our country. Whereas political power is gamit is given territory. Long time back, Harold J. Lasky, a noted British political scientist, has defined state as consisting of a relatively small number of persons who issue and execute orders. So, ang state is a small number of persons gamay ra matawhan who issue and execute orders na mao'y gahimo o matupad o mga orders sa mga balaod, which affect a larger number in whom they are themselves included. So, kanang mga tawhan na sila'y gagamaan na orders, but at the same time sila gihapon sila as a individuals sa ilang orders niya. It is of the essence of character that within its allotted territory, all citizens are legally bound by those orders. So, kato daw nga order sa unang ilang ipanghimo is para ana nga tanan sa teritoryo, then which is all citizens are legally bound by those orders. So, tanang tao jud why exempted atong mga orders, mga balaod na ilang ipanghimo is the governing elite. The study of human structure and the institution and agencies operating within it is not limited only to those officially appointed or elected. So, governing elite, dili lang kay katong mga officially elected people ang makahimo or maka-govern sa isa ka country. But in many political regions, the decision makers, the officials, are also part of the governing elite, which generally consider people with very income or knowledge and skills. So, in many political regions daw, kanang mga decision makers, the officials, kanang mga officials are also part of the governing elite, which is the consist siya kanang mga tao with greater income or knowledge and skills, like kanang mga dato, kanang mga doctorate nga mga tao or mga workers leaders bitaw nga tagas na kayo mga skills or mga experience na kayo sa buhi. Or status and political influence. Kanang mga artista, pwede na siya nga mahimong isa ka decision makers sa isa ka political region. Then, including those who occupy decision-making positions. Pwede po kanang kadtong mga tao nga ga-occupy mga decision-making positions. Like mga political analyst or mga individuals na na-concerns about our politics or sa ato ang government. Industrial leaders, managers, intellectual political leaders, mga industrial leaders daw, mga managers, depende, gusto mo sa managers, kanang mga intellectuals, mga bright, mga philosophers, political leaders, kanang mga religious leaders, mga pare, mga pastor, bishops, like that. Pwede na sila na pwede na sila mimo as a government elite. Then, representatives of a major interest and people and other groups and associations like mga party lists, examples, nato na. Then, mga doctors, lawyers, engineers, they're all make up elite. Muna sila yung mga tao yung tawag o elite, which is mga ato yung makita nyo nga dagko sila mga capacity to govern sa isa ka political region. Then, it must be remembered that in the study of political regions, we always try to link the command structure or the government with the So, atin daw hunahon o ato ang hinduman nga ang pag-study of political regions kay kanunay dyan nato nga i-link ang mga command structure or kanang mga tao ang nga ato makonsider nga mga elite people sa government or the government with the elite. That's all. Thank you.
We have three types of political regions: democratic regions, totalitarian region, and authoritarian region. So let's define first what is democratic region. Democratic regime is a system of government in which state power is vested in the people or the general population of a state. So it is characterized by a system in which we individuals kay natay freedom nga mo participate sa elections para mo choose sa ato ang preferred leaders, and also ani is express ta sa atong opinions without fear. Pwede ta mo mang-criticize of mga political candidates, mga political parties, o maka-express ra po ta sa atong political views sa Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, o sa kanang social media platforms. Next is totalitarian regime. It is a government that has complete control over everything in people's lives and often doesn't allow freedom. So, an example ani is sa country nga North Korea. So, ato sa ilang countries, bawal sila mag-pictures o mga military or officials without their permission, kaya masakpan man gani is dakon o makareceive of punishment. Wala sila freedom nga mo-choose sa ilang leaders, and wala sila freedom nga mo-choose ay mo express sa lang opinions. So, opposite ra kani siya sa democratic region. Next is authoritarian region, a government that concentrates political power in an authority not responsible to the people. So, this is where ang usa ka tao or isa ka small group may mubuhat sa mga important decisions nga dili na sila need maminaw sa ilang katawhan on how their country should be governed. Dili nga system is naa sila freedom but limit. Sama to sa ilahang freedom of speech, kanang naa sila freedom nga mo express silang opinion but kanang magmatmon lang gyapon sila kay base na ay officials na ma-offend, then dapat sila o maka-receive of punishment.
Good afternoon, everyone, and my topic is all about political regimes, similarities and dissimilarities. So there are points of convergence and divergence in the modern political regimes. So firstly, the rule and the position of legislature has been incapacitated. So legislation are enacted mainly on the initiative of the executive. So ang executive maoy nag-control sa imi budget and foreign policy. While the democracies, it is just a platform for debates and discussion in the authoritarian and totalitarian regimes. Even this role is missing. And secondly, there has been a growth and the rule, power, and possession of all the executive and all the types of political regimes. Then thirdly, the states in all regimes have become welfare state with increasing rule and intervention in the individual's life. And fourthly, the rule and influence of the military has grown, including the democracies. So the differences between the democratic and authoritarian or totalitarian regimes lie in the style in which the relationship between the society and the state structure. So in communist totalitarian state, the emphasis was on the engage in a societal forces and the state and makes them conform. So sa totalitarian, so nag-engage siya sa society forces ngadto sa states or sa atong estado. Then in democracies, the emphasis is always on separating society from state. So sa democracies, nag-emphasize siya sa pag-separate sa atoang society ngadto sa states. And that's all, and thank you.
Good day and good evening to everyone, and at whatever time you may be viewing our reporting video, hello to all. Now I will be discussing the assigned topic, which is all about the legislature and its structure. So we all know, and kanang sabotable naman siguro po nato, kaya na naman tayo gamay knowledge about any word nga legislature. Kaya mo man yung katong asa, the three branches of government, katong na yung mga executive, kung wapod mo nakalimot, kung naminaw pod mo. So, ang legislature is the branch of government responsible for making law. So, mauto sa akong giingon. Ay, giingon ka ng... So, mauto sa inyong nadungag na responsible for making law. So, ang legislature is na ay power to make a law. Or kung sa Bisaya pa, mo'y muhim o balaod. And it typically consists of two houses. They are made by lawmakers in the Philippine legislature that is also called the Congress of the Philippines. So the Congress has two houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. So sa upper house, mao ang Senate. And sa lower house, mausad ang House of Representatives. And here's an overview of their structures. So natin gitawag ani nga unicameral legislature versus bicameral legislature. So sa unicameral legislature is only one house rana or body nga muhimo mo kuan decisions. Then sa bicameral legislature has two houses, often with different procedures and powers nga ultimately must work together para muhimo og policy and exercise other legislative powers and responsibilities. So sa laing ubang countries na naay bicameral legislature with two houses. while ang uban pod is unicameral legislature ra pod nga. Only one house ra. Then this is the functions of a legislature: making and amending laws. Then second is scrutinizing and overseeing the government's action and decisions. And the third is allocating budgets and resources. And the fourth is representing the interests and concerns of their constituents. So, both houses na po na sila committees responsible para sa mga nag-studying and para sa mga naghimo og recommendation in specific policy areas or bills. Then, kada kuan pod, isa nito kada bahay pod, each house pod na po na sila leadership, such as kanang sa lower house na ay kanang speaker ang ilang kuanan to. Then sa upper house is president or vice president. So how members are chosen? So giunsa man. So ang member sa lower house is usually elected by the population. Otos na itong mga katauhan. Then, ang members po sa upper house may be appointed, elected by kasi-klase nga methods or serve for fixed terms. Oto. Then, legislative process. Bills go through a series of readings, debates, and votes in both houses before becoming law. And also, legislature's role in different forms of government is and also legislature role in different forms of government. The structures and powers of legislatures can vary in parliamentary, presidential, and semi-presidential systems.
Good day, everyone. My topic is all about deliberation. Deliberation is an increasingly common form of political participation and already plays a role, on direct or indirect, in the society and politics. The act of deliberation is the act of reflecting carefully on a matter and weighing the strengths and weaknesses of the alternative solution to a problem. It aims to arrive at a decision or judgment based not only on facts and the data but also on values, emotion, and other less technical consideration. Though individual can deliberate, it commonly means that making decision together as a small group, an organization, or a nation. Political communication and deliberation takes a unique approach to the field of political communication by viewing key concepts and research through the lens of deliberative democratic theory. In times of complex change, current democratic and government institutions are failing to deliver. Deliberative process are one part of a higher, bigger picture of a systematic change that is needed. When conducted effectively, they can enable policymakers to take hard decisions about the most challenging public policy problems and enhance trust between citizens and government. Deliberation process provide an opportunity for a better solution as they tap into the collective intelligence and cognitive diversity of a group. Evidence suggests that human reasons are more effectively through social interaction, particularly with those who bring completely different perspectives to the table, which help people to justify their beliefs and behavior to others, convince them through defending arguments, and evaluate the position that others make. Deliberative process can also help engender support for public decision among a wider public as people are more likely to trust a decision that has been informed by ordinary people than one made solely by government or behind closed doors. Moreover, a deliberative process helps to increase participants' broad level of knowledge about issues, build a civic capacity and political efficacy of both participants and a wider public, and can also lead to a higher level of knowledge and participation of public participation if public communication is done well. Moreover, deliberative process do not address all of the democratic and governance problems. Democratic societies face a wide set of challenges which require different methods of resolution or participation. For example, deliberative processes are not sufficient to address the problems of political inclusion and collective decision making. The former is better satisfied through political equality in the form of universal suffrage and voting is useful for broader participation in decision making. Nor are deliberative process well suited for urgent decisions, problem in the late stage of decision making, where possible solutions are limited for issues that involves national security or for resolving binary questions. Democratic governance requires the use of different mechanisms for different purposes to take advantage of their strengths and weaknesses. That's all. Thank you.
So, mayang hapon, this is my reporting about the legislation, the member of 1. What is legislation? Most constitutions implicit assert the legislative functions of parliaments. The end of absolute executive power is afforded by giving to parliament and to it alone the right to make laws. So these institutions of the Philippines, the policies of legislation, or which is the legislative, the example of this, the tax. So mga kinahanglang bayaran sa ato pa ni kanang utang kinahanglang bayaran karong bayaran kay this is the one of policies do na payroll ng mga pangutangay kinahanglang bayaran din na siya. So kini nga balaod, so this is the more of this constitutions is the napamatuod nga di kini nga legislatura hingpit or restrict ni siya nga balaod ang katungod sa paghimo ug mga policies. So these legislations have two. So what are they? The leges and latum. So what is leges? Leges is the law and the latum is making. So leges means batas and then the latum is making kanang tighimo ba tigama sa mga balaod. So ito siya. So this legislation is the effective control over legislations usually raised with the government. So as we all know and as we can say this legislation's policies is the more of effectiveness. So nagpakita siya nga epektibo nga policy. So atong nakita karon nga nakalinaw freedom sa the rights to the citizens. So there are the 8 types of legislations. So the first is the supreme. So what is supreme? Kanang kataas-taasan. Example of this, unified force with a supreme commander. So mo to example sa supreme legislation. The next is subordinate. Sumailalim. Example of this is the subordinate officers. Mga katabang sa mga opisyalis, and then the colonial, which is the familiar to us, the colonies, which is colonies, mga colonialismo before. Example of this, the British colonial rule. So dili ra sa atong lugar ang mga rule ngani kundi apil ang British or the other countries. Next is executive, to enforce the laws. Example nga ni kay executive chairman, tagapamahala na to. Next is judicial, paghukuman, or example nga ni kay atong mga officials, mga president nga tagapamahala sa atong lugar. Next is the municipal. Example of this is the municipal elections. Like today's happens before the happens of elections of barangay is peaceful, and the 6 years elections, we have the mayor, senate, and president. So that is the municipal legislation. And next is conditional. A power of Congress provides powers to the institutions authority to determine when or more policies shall be applied or when it comes into force. So is the conditional. Next is subdelegated. Unsa ning subdelegated? As seen as auxiliary or subsidiary process to delegated legislation. So kasagaran ang legislation ubos nga gahom nga tagapagmana nila. Tagapagmana or kanang gitugyan nila. So mo to subdelegated. And next is autonomous legislation. A power of Congress to experience public policy function of legislation, executive, and judicial. Mga illegal nga autonomiya. So my reflections of this legislation is about our country. So there are the many policies, ordinance, the laws to our countries that provides our citizens. So we need to use it always because this is the rule. So mo ni mga balaod nga dili na to angay kalimtan, dili angay na to wadon sa atong lugar, sa atong kinabuhi. Kay once mawa ni siya, so matawag ni siya og illegal. So that is my reporting of legislation. That's all, and thank you.
Good day sir, akong topic dahil kanang typical steps in making a law. Kanang first, drafting someone writes a new rule called a bill. Kanang second, introducing the bill. The bill is presented to a group that make rules like kanang Congress. Sunod kay kaning committee review. The group sends the bill smaller team to study it carefully. Sunod kaning debate. Everyone in the larger groups talks about the bill and suggests changes. Sunod kaning voting. Everyone in the groups decide if they want the bill to become a rule. Usually more than half need to say yes. Sunod kaning implementation. The rule becomes an official law and must be followed. And last, can review and change. People check how well the law works and might change it later if needed.
This sir, this is my report. It's tackle about legislature and new democratic. So transition to democracy provides a new opportunities for their legislature. Since parliaments embody the ideas of representation, we should expect the structure to grow and newly minted democracies. As new democracies, the legislature plays as a crucial role in the governments of the country. There have na mga key points diri. So representative body. Members of the parliament or Congress makes as a pass law on behalf of the people. Multi-party system, political opinions and interests within the country. So mga kung itong silang mga naay political party, so mga nasa mga kanya-kanya ng mga opinions, nasa kanya-kanya ng mga interests sa ato ang country, nasa gusto baguhon mo ng mga magandang mga politika. Elections, allowing people to choose their representatives. So kapag naman ako sa elections, kita nag-select sa mga taong naasa ato ang government, sila mga nagpapalakad o nagabuhat sa mga laws. Check and balance, approving government actions, budgeting and policies. Lawmaking making one of the parliament functions in the legislature is that to make and amends law. This process man do the drafting, debating, and voting on proposed law. So sila ang mga magagabat sa law, sila ang mga nagtatakil kung ang iban ipasarang law ay nagbuhat, and so on. Oversight. Legislature have a role in overseeing the work of the executive. Na po yung mga representation, committee, budgetary, accountability, and adaptation. So accountability para sila sa sa mag-proper sila sa check and balance. So adaptation, so nagabago ang panahon, so kailangan ba tumadapt sa ilang mga laws. So naay sir na important note nga akong research po. So specific structure and functions of legislature in new democracies can vary widely depending on the country. Unique politics and constructional frameworks, these general principles provide an overview of the role and importance of the legislature in democratic system. So yung napasabot democracies can vary widely depending on the country. So mag-depend lang siya sa country kung sa mga unique political and constructional frameworks. So mauna na akong pagsabot, sir. Thank you.
Today I will report my topic, which is legislature in a authoritarian state. Since assemblies are a symbol or popular representation politics, their significance in authoritarian regimes is inherently limited. Yet legislative are difficult to extinguish completely. In 1990, only in 14 out of 64 independent states had no assembly. Thus, 14 only 5 traditional dynastic states in the Arabian Gulf had no experience of assemblies at all. So, usapot na ako sa legislator in authoritarian state kay legislatura sa mga authoritarian na estado. Ay tungod kay ang mga assemblea mao ang simbolo sa popular nga representasyon sa politika ang ilang mga kahinungdanon sa authoritarian nga mga rehimen o limitado kayo apan ang mga legislatura lisod nga mabulong sa higpit adtong 1990 14 lamang sa 64 ka independentong estado ang walang asembleya. Atong 14 lang 5 tradisyonal nga dinastiya nga estado sa Arabian Gulf walay kasinatian sa mga asembleya. Parliament provides a big siyang pasabot ang pagkunhod sa legislatura. The decline of the parliament thesis maintained that legislature in established democracies are losing or have lost power to the executive. Ang pagkunhod sa thesis na sa parliament nagminimentar nga legislatura sa natukod ng mga demokrasya na wala o nabadaan gahom sa ehekutibo. Ito siya ang kasabot ito. Takis igit. case against. To speak of the return of legislator in a global era is simple for three reasons. Ang kaso bahil sa kagunhod sa legislatura sa global na panahon, diyan oras tungod sa tulo ka hinungdan. Ang una, even if parliament is no longer in